Hello! Welcome to Melissa's Musings. You guys know I am Melissa Steele with Steele San Diego Homes, real estate agent extraordinaire. So it's Saturday. Not a lot of people tend to join in on Saturdays or Sundays, but that's okay. I'm still committed to going live for you guys. And I had a really interesting thought actually earlier today because I was holding an open house. And it's really interesting, even when holding an open house, to see the different energies that walk into a room and to really feel that energy, right? You know, like there's always been times in our lives, I'm sure, and please, if this has happened to you, I would love to know. Put a thumbs up in the box if this has happened to you. You are in a room, you are, kind of just minding your own business, and somebody walks into the room and you're like, huh. Either in a really powerful way, like, I wonder like who they are, or like, I wonder if they're a facilitator or a speaker at this conference. They just have a presence about them, right? Have you ever experienced that? Give me a thumbs up. Or it could be opposite side of the spectrum, where you're like really creeped out for some reason, or you're just like, this person's giving me a really weird vibe. Ladies, I'm sure we've all been creeped on at some point. Do you know what I mean? So it had me thinking, because last weekend I was literally in an open house, and this was a really interesting experience that I became aware of, and I was observing as it was happening. There was a guy walking around the open house. John had actually been in the open house. I had not interacted with the guy on his way in. I was actually out showing a property. I arrived at the home. John was like, oh, I've got to run and grab the open house signs because we were about to close up shop. There's a guy looking at the house. And I was like, okay, whatever. And, we swapped places, and he went to pick up signs, and I was alone in the house. And the guy ended up coming into the kitchen to talk to me. And as soon as he walked into the room, I immediately started like looking for my exits and noticing where I was positioned in the room, where he was positioned in the room, and where I would exit the room would he, like if he was to try something. And he's asking me questions about the house, and I was like, as he's asking me questions about the house, and I'm thinking in my head about like what my exit strategy would be, I was like, that's so interesting. I don't know this dude. I have no reason to doubt him or mistrust him, but for some reason, his energy had me looking at my exit plan, just in case. And that's not the first time that's happened to me. I've observed that happen in my mind before, where I've been in a certain situation, even, it's happened a couple times at open houses actually, where I've been like at an open house and a guy will walk in, or it's actually happened with women too, so, on both sides, and immediately I'm like noticing my position within the home and where the exits are. But I've also experienced the complete opposite side of the spectrum, where I've been in an entirely full room at a conference full of like maybe 200 people, and noticed particular people in that room because of the energy that they were bringing, and thought to myself like, I wonder if they are like a speaker or are somehow involved in this conference. And later on that day, saw them walk on stage for their speech, or their training, and my thought been like, oh, that's really interesting, because they had that big of a presence about them and that big of an energy that they, that I automatically thought they were important and of importance. So it really made me think, like, are you aware of the energy that you're bringing into the room? I hadn't really thought about it. So it's something that I get to think about and be conscious of, the energy that I'm bringing into the room. Because I really find it fascinating that it can happen in a variety of ways, right? We can be scared. We can get like a creeper status. We can feel really happy or joyful. Like those people who just are exuberant and like so excited about everything when you come in contact with them, like the ultimate promoter, and you're just like, oh my God, you're so much fun to hang out with. Your energy is just so fantastic. So, Stace, I love you. She said, I have always loved your energy from day one. Sister, this is why we're friends, because I've always loved your energy from day number one. Do you remember we were like hugging at the open house? I got a really awesome vibe from Stacy at my open house. We were like hugging it up. I think we hugged like 3 times before you left. We said goodbye like 5 times. And Then we helped her and her amazing husband buy a home, and now we're great friends, which, speaking of which, we for sure need to get a dinner on the calendar. John and I were literally talking last night about how we get to sync up and do something fun. So anyways, back to the musing. It's just fascinating having an awareness of that energy and noticing it, and then being aware of the energy that we're bringing to the table, because I'm sure there's days where I've been grumpy pants Melissa and have probably been a downer on somebody's day, or somebody noticed, that maybe I wasn't very happy upon interacting. Maybe their experience of me was not a very happy experience. Maybe I was super grumpy and they were like, oh, this chick, I'm done with her. Or there could have been other times where I showed up really joyous and exuberant myself and totally transformed the energy of the room. But it's something that I get to now be aware of and really conscious of. And it also made me think of the thing that we always toss around, fake it till you make it. That energy truly comes across. Before John and I had even done a deal, we were confident that we could do it. I was 1,000% confident that I would do 100% by my client, and above and beyond exceptionalness, because I wanted to blow them out of the water. So I was committed to that, and I knew that I could represent my first client, whoever they were, in that capacity. So I showed up with that energy. And not once throughout my entire real estate career has anybody ever asked, oh, how many deals have you closed, or how much business have you done? Because I've always shown up with the energy that I've had the capacity to do it. But I have run into agents who've been in the business for a year, 2 years. There's one guy in particular that comes to mind that every time I see him at an open house, it's it's his first day. Sorry, I got a phone call. It's it's their first day there. And they're nervous, they're jittery, it's uncomfortable, really awkward. You're dude, this is such a struggle city. Here's my sign in, have a great day. So yeah, it just made me think, be aware of the energy that you're bringing to the table. Be aware of how you're showing up, how you're being around your sphere. And if you're showing up a creeper, you get to shift that, because it was weird when I was looking at exits at my open house last weekend. Just made me think of how people show up and, why that subconsciously was happening. I run into many men and am by myself quite often. It's not a common feeling, but it happened really dramatically. And in the same way, I recently saw a powerhouse of a person, noticed them far before knowing that they were a powerhouse, and I was like, that person is somebody I want to know. So yeah, it happens. Love you guys. Hope you have an amazing rest of your weekend. Bye.